This is the Hoka Skyward X, one of the most cushioned running shoes in the world. Now, this massive super trainer is the latest thing to come out of what I'll call Hoka's year of reinvention. So while every other brand seems to be pumping out slightly altered versions of already existing shoe lines, Hoka is going off the map and are coming up with completely new things. Earlier this year, there was the Cielo X1 with a huge rock forward profile and kind of crappy laces. And now they're giving us this, one of the tallest, most gigantic running shoes in the world. The Skyward X feels like Hoka going back to what made the brand famous in the first place, which is just super cushioned shoes. But here, they've cranked their dial even more.
The numbers all go to 11.
But is there a use case for a $225 training shoe the size of a small child? And who's this good for? See, I've debated long and hard about whether or not these are worth the buy, because they're kind of like the Mike Tyson of running shoes. Divisive, heavy, expensive, and illegal, but also kind of awesome.
Imagine how cool that'd be. You'd be in an Aston Martin or a Ferrari, you have a tiger right next to you.
So let's dive deeper into what the heck these things are and whether or not they're worth the buy. So the Skyward X is a hybrid between a racing shoe and an everyday easy running shoe that we call a super trainer. So super trainers have that big supercritical foam and also the carbon plate that gives them a little bit more pop than an easy running shoe. But at the same time, they have a bit too much support and are usually a bit too heavy to be considered proper racing shoes.
I'm not fat, I'm big boned. You can't slim down bone, stupid.
But even for a super trainer, the Skyward X is heavy. The reason for their weight is the massive stack height of 48 millimeters, which actually makes them illegal in World Athletic sanctioned events.
Hey, Leaks, check it out. Pogo stilts.
I mean, you couldn't smuggle these in a race anyway. They're so big. The first time I put them on, I felt like I was 6 feet tall. And I'm only 5'10". Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're more like 5'9". Shut up. Outside of the Adidas Prime X Strung 2s, these have the biggest stack height I've ever seen. So my fear was, are these too big and heavy to be any good, even in training? So I got to put my fears to the test and actually wear these during Boston Marathon weekend at a Hoka pop-up store. We were there to test a Wahoo treadmill, which is apparently fast enough to support a 4-minute mile. So I get to the store and there's a biomechanist next to a treadmill and he gives me these shoes and I feel like I'm being punked. Basically saying, hey Alex, you who has not ever run a 4-minute mile, put on these 11-ounce shoes the size of an air fryer, get on this treadmill, try to run a 4-minute mile in front of 100+ shoppers and the Citius Mag guys doing a podcast right next to it. I was petrified.
48 millimeters of foam. So if you are one of
these
the
babies are
single
thick.
guys on the dating apps who lies about his height, the Hoka Skyward X is the shoe for you.
So I begrudgingly gave them a try, thinking there's no way a shoe that heavy can make me go that fast. In fact, there might not be a shoe in the world that can make me go that fast. And then I also wasn't expecting all that much. So my knock with Hoka in the past was that their foam, however comfortable, was not hard enough to really help me explode off the ground. The shoes just didn't feel fast. But then, when I say I'm shocked, I get to review a lot of shoes. It's difficult to shock me at this point. I was shocked. The Skyward X had crazy bounce. It's like an airplane. When you look at an airplane, you think something this heavy has no business being in the air. The Skyward X is like an airplane. It deploys so much upward force that you have no trouble finding yourself in the air and almost staying there. Somehow it works.
It's science.
Let's look into how it's made, because there is a lot at work to make the shoe not feel like just a massive chunk of foam. First, there are 3 layers to the Skyward X's midsole. First, the PIBA foam sits right underfoot, providing a bit of pep and bounce. Underneath that is a convex-shaped carbon plate that compresses as you land and springs back as you take off. And then third, an energy-returning EVA foam at the bottom is bent in a rocker shape to facilitate a midfoot landing and then a smooth toe-off. Finally, at the back of the shoe, the foam curves to securely frame the heels so that you don't feel unsteady, even though you are about 2 inches off the ground. As for the upper, it's pretty tightly knit and a little bit thick, but at least it's cozy, fits well on the foot, and is completely chafe-free. Okay, time for the sexy scale. This shoe is 1 bounce away from becoming a fashion statement. It's so outrageous that I could see some rapper just pulling it up on stage. In fact, I think Ludacris already has. Now, I can't really pull them off, but I give them an 8.5. So, despite their weight, I've come to really love the Skyward X. I think they're perfect for someone who would dedicate them to long runs and up-tempo runs. And alternatively, and I don't recommend this unless your budget is tight, they could work as someone's everything shoe. You could wear them for easy runs, workouts, and also races, provided they're not World Athletics sanctioned races.
Oh, snap!
And as for me, I give them a buy rating, at the very least for making me look 6 feet. Well, actually 2 inches will put you at 5'11". Get out of my house!